rapid way to do multiplication. You are about to learn how to do the multiplication. Type of multiplication you can do without a calculator or paper and pencil is something like 73 times 77. You get the answer right away. 81 times 79. Also you get the answer right away. 23,512 times 4. You get this right away. You don't need a calculator. It's all mental work. Okay, I tell you what is required to be the math whiz who can do multiplication very quickly like that. The basic stuff you need to know, the multiplication table, like 4 times 9 or 5 times 9, etc. Now, if you need to practice, we have a flashcard video. You can go back and practice this. Now, the second things you need to do is to get extended table, like 11 times 11 is 121, 12 times 12 is 144. You got memorize this. This is extended multiplication table. Okay, and also you need to know the multiplication of 2. You multiply 4 times, it's 16. 5 times 32, 6 times 64, 7 times 128, 8 times 56. Now, this multiplication of 2, you need to deal with this when you learn the computer science anyway. For example, the computer is binary. It's, the binary means 2 state. And if you have an 8-bit, how many number can you express by 8-bit of binary? It's a 256. Okay, you learn this anyway when you learn the computer science in the future. Then why not just memorize it? Okay, so that's the cost of being a math whiz. Okay, well, you actually need to practice, a little bit of practice. I would say 1 week of practice. You master this skill and trick and the secret, then you can be a math whiz. We also have division, addition, subtraction, and others. You can check out those videos too. But here we deal with multiplication. Now, if you learn this multiplication, it helps you to get the high score in the SAT. Of course, you save a time to do calculation all over in the SAT test. Okay, we have other video, the rapid way to do division, addition, subtraction, and some other stuff. So check out the video. It help you to get the high score in SAT. Okay, let's start.
Multiplying numbers, the rapid way. Now it's time for the real magic. Everyone has been taught the basic multiplication table from 1 to 12 in school, like 12 times 12 equals 144. You need to have this basic understanding to learn any rapid method for multiplication. Hopefully you remember your multiplication table. Otherwise, you'll have to go review it. The number of methods you can use will increase if you can memorize a little bit more beyond 12 times 12. You don't have to memorize 19 times 19, but knowing a product of the same number multiplication, such as 14 times 14, 16 times 16, up to even 19, can be very useful. Don't worry about it at the moment, though. We'll start with using only 9 times 9. Let's review simple multiplication. When you multiply 10 or 100 with another number, you get the answer by simply shifting a digit. For example, 23 times 10 is 230. 45 times 100 is 4,500. Have you ever wondered why multiplying by 10, 100, or 1,000 is really easy, but once you get to the multiplication of other numbers such as 12, it gets a lot more complicated? This has to do with the number system we're using. We use a decimal number system. This means every multiple of 10 we simply shift a digit. A computer does not use a decimal number system. Instead, a computer uses a binary. So, times by 2 is a simple shift operation. What if you could convert a number into another number system, say base 12? Then multiplying a number by 12 would be simply shifting a digit. After we'd shift a digit, we'd convert it back to a decimal number. In this way, we do not have to do any multiplication. Doesn't that sound great? Unfortunately, converting a decimal number into a number on 12-base systems and converting back from 12-base numbers into a decimal number isn't easy. That's why this isn't considered a practical method of simplifying the multiplication. However, we can utilize the decimal number characteristics. Multiply by 10 means just shift one digit. We take advantage of this characteristic to perform the rapid number crunching method. The first method we'll show you here is the multiplication of any number from 11 to 19. You need to practice it so that you can do it without paper and pencil. Both numbers are between 11 and 19. This method works only for this specific number range. Let's look at this multiplication problem. 12 times 16. 12 has the number 2 at the end, and 16 has the number 6. Add them up and you get 8. The sum is shifted one digit and becomes 80. Multiply 2 times 6 and get 12. The answer to this multiplication is simply 80 plus 12 plus 100. The answer is 192. 16 times 19. First, add 6 and 9 and get 15. Multiply them next and get 54. Add 150 and 54 and get 204. Now add 100 at the end, so you get 304 as the answer. Quick and easy. The next example works in the following way. Add 3 to 5 and get 8. Multiply 3 and 5 and get 15. Add 80 and 15 and get 95. Add 100 at the end, and the answer is 195. Now I'd like you to master this method by this last example. Add 7 to 4 and get 11. Multiply 7 and 4 and get 28. Add 110 and 28 and get 138. Add 100 at the end, you get 238. I taught this to elementary school kids, and they were doing it without pen and paper, so you should be able to master this method eventually. Just review your basic multiplication table. At least now you'll know next time you don't even need a calculator for any multiplication of numbers 11 to 19. The next method applies to only one specific case, but it's still very useful once you know it, and it is very easy to remember. When you're multiplying numbers that are less by a number and another number plus the same number, you can get the answer by simply multiplying the number twice and then subtracting the number that's been multiplied twice. Confused? Look at the sample 21 times 19. 21 is 20 plus 1, and 19 is 20 minus 1. In this case, you can get the multiplication result, we call the product, by 20 times 20 minus 1 times 1, and the answer will be 399. Let's practice. The first one is 15 times 25. Here, 15 is 20 minus 5, and 25 is 20 plus 5. So 20 times 20 is 400. 5 times 5 is 25. 400 minus 25 is 375. The answer is 375. 33 times 27 is made up of 30 plus 3 and 30 minus 3. 30 times 30 is 900. 3 times 3 is 9. The answer is 900 minus 9, which comes out to 891. The last example is made of 100 plus 7 and 100 minus 7. Therefore, you get 10,000 from 100 times 100. 7 times 7 gives you 49. The next step is 10,000 minus 49, so your answer is 9,951. You may be saying to yourself, but this is very limited. You're not going to find this type of equation all the time. This is true. We need to expand this for you now so that we can use the same method for slightly different cases. If you can't get exact cases like 23 times 17, but 23 times 18, you can still apply this method. However, you need to add or subtract a number to compensate the deviation. In this example, assuming we have 23 times 17, we get 400 minus 9 equals 391. But to compensate the deviation, we add 23 and we get 414. So let's take a look at some examples. 15 times 24 can be 15 times 25, but one less. So after we get 15 times 25, then we'll subtract 15 from the result. 15 times 25 is 400 minus 25, equals 375. 375 minus 15 is 360. It's easy so far? 33 times 28 can be calculated as 33 times 27 and add the compensation of 33 later. 33 times 27 equals 900 minus 9 equals 891. 891 plus 33 is 924. Last example. 107 times 93 by subtracting 107 at the end. 107 times 93 equals 10,000 minus 49 equals 9,951. Therefore, 9,951 minus 107 equals 9,844. You're probably not happy yet. You might be thinking, yes, this helps in being able to use this method in more cases, but now I want more. That's the spirit. Here's yet another way to expand your methods even further. We figure out the midpoint of the two numbers and use it as A, as you see in the next diagram. Wait a minute. How do you do 18 times 18? Well, the easiest way is to just memorize the table above. Once you have, there are many more methods you can master later on. It's not that hard to memorize them if you take some time to repeat it to yourself. If you can't memorize this figure, you can always go back to the teenage method to get 18 times 18 equals 324. Now let's get into any number multiplied by any number. For example, how do you get the answer for a problem like 247 times 4? In order to get into this area, you need to be acquainted with the characteristics of decimal numbers a little more. This is a very important section, and you need to practice a little harder, because this will be used over and over later on in the rapid multiplication and division methods. Any number can be broken into the multiplication of a smaller number, prime numbers. This is called factoring. You see that 4 is the same as 2 times 2. When you multiply a number by 4, you can multiply it by 2 and repeat it again by 2. Multiplying a number by 2 means doubling it, and you can do it without paper and pencil most of the time. For example, 247 will be 494 when you double it. When you double 494, it will be 988. Therefore, 247 times 4 equals 988. I hope you're getting an idea of how this works by now. Some multiplication can be broken into a series using small numbers. When you double 988, it will be 1,976, and it is the answer for 247 times 8. You can do this without paper and pencil. That's why I've chosen to show you the rapid multiplication of small numbers first. Now you can see how to rapidly calculate by 2 and multiples of 2, such as 4, 8, 16, and so on. This will be important and used for other methods later. Now the next one is 5. 5 has a special characteristic, and as you know, multiplying a number by 5 becomes just another rapid method you can do without paper and pencil. When you multiply a number by 10, 10 is made of 5 times 2, so you multiply by 2 after you multiply the number by 5. This is why you need to divide the number by 2. Dividing a number by 2 is to take half of it. Using this method, let's practice. First, 323 times 5. You need to take half of 3,230. The answer is 1,615. How about the second one? 129 times 5. Take the half being 1,290. The answer will be 645. Easy. All right, the last one is 732 times 5. Take the half of 7,320. The answer is 3,660. Now we have 3, 6, 7, and 9 left. We'll attack multiplication by 9 first. Rapid methods for 9 works as you see inside the table. It shows how to calculate 35 times 9. I'll admit that subtraction isn't easy, so let's try only smaller numbers such as 23, 29, and 32. For 23 times 9, we can get the answer by 230 minus 23 equals 207. 29 times 9 will be 290 minus 29 equals 261. 32 times 9 will be 320 minus 32 equals 298. There is a limitation with this method, however. Subtracting a number is hard to do as mentioned before. Multiplying by 3 has the same problem. To multiply a number by 3, you're going to have to double the number, which is the answer for multiplying by 2, then add the number itself. Let's look at the example of 35 times 3. In this practice, you double 63 and get 126. Then add 63 to 126 and get 189. In the same way, you get the answer for the next problem, 59 times 3. First double 59 and get 118. Then add 59 to it and you get 177. The last problem is 42 times 3. Double 42 and get 84. Then add 42 to it and you get 126. Here we have the same problem as multiplying by 9. We need to add a number, and it's not easy without using a pen and paper because the number gets larger. Limiting the size of a number, we can multiply it by 6. Remember factoring? 6 is basically 2 times 3, so what we need to perform is doubling, and multiplying by 3, which is, again, doubling and adding the same number. The result will be the same if you do 3 times 2, but it's slightly easier to do multiplying by 3 first because the number to add is smaller. Let's see how it works and practice some. In this practice, the first number is 63 times 6. First, double 63 and get 126. Then add 63 to it and obtain 189. Finally, double it again and the final answer is 378. Can you do this process without a pen and paper? Look at the practice page and check to see if you can follow this process through in your head. With a little concentration and practice, you should be able to do this. In the same way, we can try 59 times 6. First double 59 and get 118. Add 59 to it and get 177. Finally, double it and get 354. In the same way, you have to follow this thought process by just looking at the practice page. Okay, the last practice is 42 times 6. A little simpler. Double 42 and get 84. Then add 42 to it and obtain 126. Finally, double it to be 252. 7 is very different. We can't factor 7. A faster way to multiply by 7 is to multiply by 8 instead and just subtract. This works only after you learn how to subtract with the rapid method. So we'll come back to 7 after you've covered that concept. We've moved on to larger number multiplication. Using the factoring concept, many two-digit numbers can be broken down into simpler single-digit multiplication. For example, 34 times 12 is the same as 34 times 3 times 2 times 2. In this case, we simply perform multiplication by 3 and double the result number twice. Let's try it now. 34 times 3 will be obtained by doubling and adding the number. 68 plus 34 equals to 102. Double it twice, you get 408. The first example here works like this. 61 times 3 will be 122 plus 61 equals 183. To multiply by 5, take the half of 1,830. The answer is 915. The second example is simply doubling 4 times. 210, 420, 840, 1,680. Easy? The third example can be done by multiplying by 9 and doubling it. 45 times 9 equals 450 minus 45 equals 405. Double it to get 810. We will introduce one method that has a special name for it. It's called the 10 twist. Let's look at the two digits being multiplied. We need to pay attention to the important evidence here in order to be able to use this rapid method. There are two conditions. First, the first digits of the two numbers are the same. For the first example, 34 times 74 has the same number 4 as the lower digit. Second, the sum of the higher digit is 10. For the first example on the screen, 34 times 74 satisfies these conditions. First, they both have 4 for the lower digit. Second, the sum of 3 and 7 is 10. In this case, you multiply 3 and 7 and obtain 21. Then add 4 and obtain 25. The answer is 2,500 plus 4 times 4, which is 16, and the answer is 2,516. For the first problem listed in the practice, we have 5 times 5 plus 4 equals to 29. The answer is 2,916. This is a rapid method of performing two-digit multiplication. Let's try the next problem. 61 times 41. First, 6 times 4 plus 1 equals to 25. Therefore, the answer is 2,501. The last one is 96 times 16. First, 9 times 1 plus 6 is 15. The answer to this question is 1,536. We can apply a similar rapid method for two digits multiplying for a different condition. When two-digit numbers have the same higher digit and the sum of two lower digits is 10, a similar method can be used. The first example on the screen shows that 43 times 47 has the same higher digit, 4, and the sum of the lower digit is 10, as 3 plus 7. The answer can be obtained by 4 times 5 times 100 plus 3 times 7 equals 2,021. The first practice question is 45 times 45. This is simply 2,025. Want me to break down each step again? The higher digit is 4, so 4 times 5 gives you the upper two-digit of the answer, 20. The lower two-digit will be simply 5 times 5, and it is appended to the upper two-digit forming the answer, 2,025. The second question, 89 times 81, produces the answer of 7,209. The answer for the third question, 67 times 63, is 4,221. Too easy? What if the upper digit is 12, not a single digit? This method still works, but you need to know 12 times 13. The answer is 15,624 because 12 times 13 is 156 and 4 times 6 is 24.
Well, I hope you liked it, because it gave you a lot of techniques to speed up the multiplication. I'm sure you feel like you need a little practice. Let me pick some key point for you. Here's a summary. The first one was teenage method. Any number with 1 can be simply multiplied by this method. The first, you add this 6 and 3, which is 9, and you add 1 to it. So 1, 9, and you have 3, 6 multiply 18. So 208. Okay? Now, center of gravity is when you have equal distance to the center point 30. Then it's a 900 minus 1. Right? The 10 twist, when you have the same number here and this number, sum is 10. So what's happened is you multiply 21 plus 4, 25, and the remaining is 4, 4, 16. Correct? Now, 10 twist part 2, what's happened is you have the same number, and this side, sum is the same. In this case, you add 1, 6, 7, 42. And you multiply 2, 8, 16. Right? So if you know, practice, without much effort, you can do this calculation. Now, you may say, what if it's a case David? For example, let's take this one, right? What if it's 63 times 68? So simply 62 times 68 is 4216. Easy, right? And you add 68. So 4284. How's that? Just this is plus 1. So we add this one here. Okay? So it's just practice, 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 and once you get used to it, then it's actually quite powerful, and I'm sure you can impress your friends, parents, and teacher. Okay? And also, it's going to help overall SAT. You will be much quicker to solve each question. Okay? Please check other video for divide and add, subtract, and approximations we talk about. This is approximation, we talk about this more. And another videos for the business people. Thank you.